Hello everyone, my name is Jenae, and I'm a fourth year nursing student at the University of Northern British Columbia. Throughout my healthcare journey, I have found that I have a passion for older adult care. And in this video today, I hope to educate you about loneliness and social isolation in older adult populations, and its potential for causing cognitive and physical decline, and what we as a community can do about it.
More specifically, why social isolation related to the restrictive measures of COVID-19 is concerning for the older adult population. How loneliness and social isolation affects our older adults. Changing our mindset about aging. Our approach to communication and suggestions to improve it. Suggestions for enhanced activity contribution and participation. And lastly, technology and how it can improve the lives of older adults.
We have all been expected to adapt to the rapid changes of COVID-19, and it is time that we as a community accommodate the changing needs of our older adults. Experts cannot yet predict the true physical, psychological, and socio-economic impacts COVID-19 will have on the world, and therefore we as a community must be proactive and identify the needs of our members while challenging the inequities we encounter. Our population is aging. In fact, it is estimated that by the year 2050, older adults will outnumber all children worldwide. This places the mental and physical health of older adults at risk, as the healthcare sectors cannot keep up with this increase in demand. This is especially concerning as Statistics Canada state that 50% of older adults 80 and older experience loneliness, and 80% of individuals 85 and older experience chronic loneliness. This means that of the 750,000 Canadian individuals 85 and older, 600,000 are chronically lonely. This is especially concerning given that these statistics are drawn from reports from before the pandemic even struck.
Now, let's discuss loneliness and how it affects aging. In making a plan to address loneliness and isolation in older adults, we must first have a foundation of what these concepts entail and how it affects one's quality of life. There are two different definitions of loneliness. First, an emotional representation of social isolation, identified as a psychological condition that encompasses feelings of insecurity, worthlessness, and a great sense of emptiness. Or the second definition, that depicts loneliness as the negatively perceived difference between the relationships one has and the relationships one would like to have. In regards to social isolation, loneliness can be understood as that emotional feeling we get when our social engagement needs are unmet. In general, loneliness has been associated with several adverse health outcomes, which include, but is not limited to, heart problems, dementia, stroke, and cognitive decline. Research further suggests that loneliness can lead to serious mental health concerns if left untreated. Older adults are at increased risk for loneliness related to sudden life changes, such as financial struggles, moving out of the home, loss of a spouse, or functional decline, such as physical or cognitive limitations, immobility, and vision or hearing loss. How does social isolation come into play? Social isolation can be viewed as a social justice issue, specifically for older adults during this pandemic who may not have the means to adapt to the ever-changing demands of this world health crisis. Research suggests that social isolation is a predictor for lower cognitive function and enhanced cognitive decline, where social isolation makes it increasingly difficult for older adults to access resources or healthcare services within their community, which can therefore lead to poorer health outcomes. The combination of loneliness and social isolation inhibits participation in physical activity, and therefore becomes a risk factor for poorer physical and mental health. Research further suggests that there is a 60% increase in the risk for developing dementia or cognitive decline related to the lack of meaningful social networks, where social inclusion can combat dementia. Avoiding sedentary behavior is critical for preventing physical, psychological, and social health decline, where social interaction is important for all different dimensions of health, and it is critical to recognize that the quality of social relationships are a better predictor for the prevention of loneliness compared to the quantity of social connections. This means that there is more value in strong emotional connections with a fewer number of people compared to having a large groups with little emotional connection. Social connection is also seen as a way to relieve stress and its negative consequences, as repeated exposures to psychological stress has been associated with physical, cognitive, and working memory decline.
So what can we do about this community health problem? It all starts by changing our perspective on aging. Oftentimes, aging is viewed as the negative consequence of life, portrayed by frailty or decline. This view perpetuates ageism. Ageism is a form of discrimination, where someone is assigned negative stereotypes based solely on their age. Instead, we should be celebrating the uniqueness of individuals. This is in line with the dementia ability research that states that we should be placing emphasis on someone's abilities instead of their disabilities. Through this, we can combat cognitive decline, as the dementia ability research states that the three biggest predictors for cognitive decline is loneliness, boredom, and a lack of success. Let's start with the basics of communication. Communication forms the foundation for all human interaction and is fundamental in our day-to-day lives. Therefore, it is critical to understand how your verbal and non-verbal approaches to communication can either improve or impede the development of quality relationships. An example of this would be to speak louder as soon as an older adult enters the room, assuming they have a hearing disability. This is a form of elderspeak. Elderspeak is a form of ageism, where younger generations alter their speech based on the negative stereotypes of aging. Instead, we should assess someone's vision, hearing, and communication abilities instead of assuming they have some sort of disability.
Here are some suggestions for enhanced communication. Ask the individual what they prefer to be called. If someone is sitting down, get down to their eye level so that you can communicate on an equal level. Ask them if they have understood the information you have provided, and provide clarification as necessary. Ask open-ended questions. Avoid the use of elderspeak. Instead, assess their communication ability and adjust your speech accordingly. For example, speaking in a lower tone of voice, providing information at a pace that are suitable to their needs, and paraphrasing words if they have difficulty understanding. Use a whiteboard to write on or draw if someone has hearing impairments. However, it is critical to remember: assess, address, but do not assume. Evoke conversations that will allow individuals to reminisce about their past and recall their life story. Reminiscing enhances a sense of security, inclusion through sharing, comfort from past experiences, and self-esteem through recognition of uniqueness. Ensure the devices they need for communication are in usable condition and are being used properly, such as hearing aids, dentures, or glasses. If you're concerned about their hearing or vision abilities, ask them if they're interested in getting screened for hearing or vision impairments. The Better Hearing Institute provides online hearing screening, which is available at www.betterhearing.org. Check your hearing. For more information on dementiability and their resources, go to the Dementiability website at www.dementiability.com.
What if my family member has dementia or a difficult time communicating? There are several different resources available that has been designed specifically for individuals with dementia. Dementiability Enterprises has developed a series of tools, research, and educational platforms to support individuals living with dementia and their caregivers. Gail Elliott, the founder, is currently launching a seminar series designed for individuals taking care of people with dementia. Although these products and principles have been designed for a subset of the older adult population, I believe that it can be used universally for all older adults worldwide. Through this, we can enhance their quality of life and independence. Here are a few examples of how the Dementia Ability Program has adjusted to meet the needs of individuals living with dementia. This is called Let's Chat. It's everyday conversation prompts to enhance active communication. This is Look at This and Reminisce, conversation cards to enhance memory recall and reminiscing. This is Let's Talk About Me, a memory book filled with life facts and photos.
What about activity? If you've ever heard of or witnessed recreational therapy at work, you would know that it brings tremendous value to people's lives worldwide. Recreational programs are designed to promote the quality of life by providing the appropriate levels of stimulation using meaningful activities. These activities are designed to challenge limitations and restrictions to participation in activities of daily living, through which we can enhance independence while challenging functional decline. We as a community should adopt this strategy and explore options for safely sharing activities with our older adults. As cited in the Dementia Ability research, the collaboration in activities facilitates a quality partnership while reinforcing positive interactions between visits. This adds value to their lives by reinforcing their role within their social environment and community. We also need to recognize how much value these interactions bring to our own lives. Personally, as a nursing student, I have gained great insights, unforgettable conversations, and overwhelmingly positive experiences from my interactions with the older generation. Here are some examples for activities. Making a photo album together. Play games such as card games or board games, or ask them to teach you how to play a game they used to enjoy. Participate in cognitive challenge activities such as building puzzles, crosswords, Sudoku, or word searches. Read together. If they struggle to read, look for books with bigger fonts that are easier to read. If they're unable to or uninterested in reading, offer to read them a story instead. Enjoy outdoor activities, such as going for a walk, working in the yard or garden, or running errands. Remember to choose easily accomplishable activities with noticeable outcomes. Participate in art activities, such as painting or coloring a book. Ask them to teach you how to do the hobbies they enjoy or enjoyed earlier in life, such as woodworking or knitting. Be creative. Challenge them to a bake-off. And always ensure that if they use mobility devices, that they're in working order and being utilized correctly.
But what about social distancing? If you're unable to physically be with someone due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we should explore a different avenue. Technology. Research shows that the use of technology can dramatically increase the quality of life of older adults, specifically through improving access to healthcare information and healthcare services. It can also bridge the gap between social connections through providing access to news, hobbies, and social media platforms. Brain training activities such as these has been shown to decrease cognitive decline, and when combined with social interaction, can increase functional ability.
Access to such technology may be impaired due to different factors such as cost and design or personal barriers related to experience, awareness, self-efficacy, or lack of interest. In an effort to mitigate these barriers, we can explore cooperative learning strategies, where someone proficient in technology can support older adults in developing their technological skills while enhancing their own personal growth. So here are some suggestions for enhancing the use of technology. Take active strides to educate older adults on the appropriate use of their devices and technological platforms. Simplify applications and set devices up for easy access. such as using enlarged font for vision impairment or increasing the volume for hearing impairment. However, remember, assess, address, but do not assume. If you're proficient in technology skills, consider providing information sessions to a group of older adults in your community or in a long-term care facility in an effort to enhance their technological proficiency through knowledge sharing. Teach individuals how to access free online resources or pre-download free online audio or visual books at their request. Create a handout with easy-to-follow instructions or pictograms to allow them to independently navigate technology. This can be done through screen capturing or written instruction. Provide a technology support number within your community to call if you are unavailable or unable to provide adequate direction. Remember to remain encouraging throughout the teaching and learning process. Assess for the presence of physical limitations, such as decreased mobility, and inquire about whether they would find services such as online shopping beneficial. If they are proficient in technology, consider sharing games, applications, or social platforms to increase inclusiveness. If they do not have access to such technology or are uninterested, we need to be creative and adapt. For example, ask someone to be your pen pal and handwrite letters to each other. Now for a quick recap. Today we have covered why social isolation related to the restrictive measures of COVID-19 is concerning for the older adult population, how loneliness and social isolation affects older adults, changing our mindset about aging, our approach to communication, and suggestions to enhance it. Suggestions for enhanced activity contribution and participation, and lastly, technology and how it can improve the lives of older adults.
Now you know a little bit more about what older adults in our communities are facing in terms of social isolation and loneliness, and what you can do about it. I will continue to educate myself and advocate for change. Will you? Thank you for listening to my video, and I would like to thank the Burns Lake Primary Healthcare team for a great experience.